Some of my points about superheroes in comparison to manga were purposefully generalized in order to start conversations. Some of it was me watching Naruto The Last around the time it came out and being mentally gaslit into thinking that's how the entire series was. Maybe I am the problem. And that's driven some viewers to think that I just do not fuck with American superheroes. But you're watching a man who went to go see Superman opening night and cried, and then I saw it again. One of the goals of my series is to combine Western superhero and manga storytelling along with the real-life stories of growing up in a politically divisive black neighborhood, to tell a story that deserves to exist. So now that I've broken down why shonen manga storytelling is so potent, we need to narrow in on what exactly makes these American icons so everlasting.
I'm going in, I don't give a fuck.
When I was 7 years old, I turned myself and my friends into comic book vigilantes named the Guys. We're calling it the Guys. But beyond fighting villains, it was me creating a space where I felt like a hero in a world full of trauma. And for years, I poured everything into it. Blood, sweat, ambition, trying to turn it into a franchise bigger than itself. But the breakout moment never truly came, which leaves me with one question. What do you do when reality sets in, but the dream never changes? Let's start with something most people take for granted: iconography. Every great superhero has a visual signature, something that works no matter the style, the era, or the adaptation. Superman's crest is recognizable in any style or aesthetic. Whether he's in tights, that fuck-ass armor, a hoodie, or animated in 2D, you still know who exactly that is. Character designs from relatively recent series like Invincible or Radiant Black may very well reach that potential, but the reason Superman, Spider-Man, and Batman are burned into cultural memory is because they have time on their side. At the end of the day, good superhero character designs communicate instantly. With smart and simple choices, the fact that your character is a superhero alone isn't really gonna deter people from checking you out. They have to look built to last. The design work in the changers is intentional because if the visuals aren't clear, people won't stick around to see what you're trying to say. But visual identity only gets you so far. What truly makes a superhero last is when they're built around one core value that transcends time, genre, or writer. Superman equals hope, Batman equals justice, Spider-Man equals responsibility, and it's this core underlying principle of traditional superheroes that allow them to maintain their narrative appeal for several decades, even among different writers and mediums. It also, by default, creates interesting questions for when heroes are stripped of their defining value. What happens when Superman, a beacon of hope, resorts to taking life? Though this is a tangent, I only like examples like these when they're used to highlight the true nature of our hero, not as a hero status quo. In short, crime syndicate good, Snyder bad. That's why arcs like the Justice Lords work. You care because you know how far they've strayed. The tension only works if there's a baseline to betray. In the Changers, I'm pulling the same trick. Each character stands for something bigger than themselves, whether they admit it or not. Ivy's whole arc is about legacy, what it means to inherit something and carry it. Jay is an ambition for power incarnate, pushing against every ceiling that ever told her she couldn't. Zaire is wrestling with infamy, with being a person of mass influence who never truly knew the sacrifice that came with it. And Cheyne's hesitation, fear, and guilt is already etched into everything he does. Let's talk about identifiability. This one gets misread a lot. How can we make superheroes relatable while also being look-up-to-able? Superman saves a cat from a tree. Batman sits down with a sick child in her last moments. It's the small acts of kindness and humanity demonstrated by these larger-than-life godlike myths that really fucking make me love Marvel and DC. They remind us that even gods can care. That's mainly what I mean by identifiability. The Changers are shadows, masks, but they aren't entirely outside of the people they're protecting. Whether they each individually have their own motivations for being one of the guys, their overall umbrella of Jersey City's guardian devils gives them a level of solidarity among the universe's youth. And as I mentioned in a previous video, the Changers not wearing traditional masks is the point. They take more of a shonen protagonist route and show their identifiability via other means, and yet still retain a superhero-like reputation among the public. They're local legends, urban whispers. The city sees them, the kids talk about them, but the truth? Most people don't even know if they're real. That blur between myth and reality gives them kind of a modern folklore energy I think a lot of superheroes benefit from.
Hey guys, Xander here. While the superhero space may seem competitive and more challenging to break into than ever, we do have the advantage of being able to look back at the history of these superhero giants and maybe learn a thing or two. But the truth is, no matter how much we learn, there's no guarantee that our superheroes will be remembered. What's important is that we tell our story, because if it truly resonates with us, there's a great chance that if told the right way, that very story will resonate with someone else. In the case of Bullet Boy, the superhero I made as a kid, outside the story of the comics exists sort of a meta-narrative. Part of telling Bullet Boy's story is telling my story. So on top of a comic that you can hold and read in your hands, there's context from the creator about how those ideas made it onto the page, and sometimes the real creative struggle that it took to get there. That story for me has been a way to connect with people, creators who share the same dream as me. And in the oversaturated social media landscape, sometimes that's enough to really make us stand out. I don't believe that there's any way to guarantee that your superhero is going to be iconic. That's up to the people that are exposed to your work. Ideate, create, share it with friends, family, the internet, and who knows, maybe one day we'll be reading your iconic superheroes omnibus.
Now let's address the elephant in the room, the writer's hot potato. In a previous video, I suggested that giving superheroes to a continuous rotation of writers causes long-winded stories with stakes that dwindle and status quos that reset. That's only half true, because for every one more day, there's a Kraven's Last Hunt. That case is true for Elseworlds too. For every all-star Batman and Robin, there's a Dark Knight Returns. And a lot of the time, it's these writer-specific spins on characters that give them a jump start in the cultural zeitgeist. Loeb's take on Batman is my favorite Batman, or Raimi's Spider-Man is the best depiction of Spider-Man on film, are honestly telling of the power of the writing hot potato. And if you've seen my video, This Comic Grew Up With Me and I Think It Knows Too Much, you know how inseparable the Changers really is from my life. So handing my characters off completely to other writers is still up for contention. I don't think I could truly let somebody else hold the pen, not right now. But I can create a universe that invites reinterpretation, fanfic, collabs, remixes. That's the fire I want people to pass around. Not the exact blueprint, but the spirit of the world I built. Adaptability is the name of the game. If another live-action Dragon Ball movie was announced, there would be skepticism up the ass. But accurate depictions of iconic superheroes in media are not only welcomed, but expected at this point. And after the complete shit show that was the Snyderverse, I feel like the anticipation for a new, fresh take on the DC universe got even stronger. It really is a matter of preference and nuance though, because not gonna lie, I was not a fan of the changed gun made to Superman's Kryptonian origin in the new movie. But basically how everything else was depicted was perfect to me. That's what makes Western superheroes unique. They can be remixed. Batman has existed in noir, cyberpunk, gothic, comedy, and even anime settings, and we've bought into all of them. You expect the next version to be different but still core to the character, and that's what makes it exciting. If the Changers are going to last, I have to bake that adaptability into their bones. They have to be fluid and stylish. The ideas have to remain strong even when the aesthetics change. So now the real question, how can I somehow combine the best traits from comics and manga and confront contradictions among both to round out the Changers to their maximum potential using what I already have? Our test subject, the main character, Cheyne. Before we begin, here's some backstory. Cheyne was a directionless teenager who bottled up his emotions until he discovered xonerate, a cosmic energy source that gave him water-based powers. He became a vigilante known as Hydroflow, using his powers to fight crime alone at night while hiding his pain. After joining the Changers, he started fighting alongside his friends, but during a battle with a powerful enemy, his powers spiraled out of control and a young girl Cheyne mentored, named Sumi, was caught in the crossfire. She was never found, and Cheyne's been carrying the guilt ever since. Now he fights to protect others, but deep down, he's still trying to prove to himself that he deserves to. This one's gonna be a hell of a deep dive, and it's gonna need time. So tune into the channel to get the full backstory of Cheyne. Do you like The Changers? Do you want to read The Changers? Visit thechangerstas.com. Animations, links, merch, music, character bios, story archive. Click on an episode and read it. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Subscribe.